Hey everyone, welcome back. We have a great new Skype from Shawn Rega. So welcome, Shawn.
Thank you.
So you're on the beach here. I saw the background, so we flipped the camera so I can actually see you better. But hey, can you tell us a little bit about your history of what you kind of been through as struggles with your weight? I want to know more about that.
Sure. Well, kind of overweight as a kid. Um, I was plenty active, but I think I just had a poor diet. And so that continued into my adulthood. I'm very tall, so I can carry the weight fine. I mean, I'm 5'8". I'm not that tall, but I can carry it better than some. Um, but I just love sweets, and I have my whole life, and it's probably my go-to. Some people drink, I eat donuts.
Wow, you
But
sound like me. Yeah, that's my story. So you ate a lot of sugar in your life.
yes,
Wow.
yes, I do. It's sometimes that would be my meal. Cookies with my coffee. Um, I don't know. I just ate way too much of it, and I realized towards the end of last year that I was kind of getting out of control. I was the heaviest I had ever been, and it wasn't going down.
What was your peak weight? What was the top weight that you hit?
195, which is pretty. I hadn't even weighed for a while because I knew it was not good. um, but it was really, I kind of got to this turning point, I believe, that I felt like if I didn't do something then, I was probably just not going to worry about it. But the problem, I mean, yeah, of course you want to look good. But I was really starting to feel bad.
Mm.
And so I just decided I've got to do something. Looking better would definitely be a bonus, but I just felt overwhelmed, like habitual dieter my whole life, yo-yo. In middle school, I can remember going with my now sister-in-law, friend back then, with her mom to Weight Watchers.
Mm.
And, that was, kind of, I mean, who wants to think about that when you're 15? And I can even remember even farther back, and I'll never forget it, because this is when they weighed you in elementary school. You stood in a line, you went to the clinic, and you got weighed. Well, I was taller than everybody anyway, but I weighed 84 pounds in second grade, which, kind of up there. But I just remember being humiliated, and then I probably went home and ate. So anyway, nothing had worked for me, and it was discouraging. And, I could walk and really count calories was the last thing I did, which worked. But again, if you're not, having great results, it was really not a lifestyle to stick with because I was hungry all the time. And so, anyway, I heard about you from a friend of mine who actually graduated from high school with, but I've not seen her. We've only Facebooked. And she said, this was maybe the end of around December, to all of her Facebook friends, if you have never heard of Dr. Berg, you need to check him out, because I've lost a fair amount of weight in a short amount of time, and if I can do it, anybody can do it. So that was all I needed to hear, because it just encouraged me to, like, well, what have I got to lose? Except, weight, plus feeling better. So then I checked you out.
Wow. Did you, what other symptoms did you have when you were heavy? Like you said you felt bad. Was it fatigue? Was it memory? What was it?
Well, it was fatigue. I really had no stamina, which I have, been better off, previously. Like I said, I have a physical job. I clean homes. I also have a little farm, family farm. So, I'm hauling feed bags and throwing them around, and I'm fairly strong, but I would just then go sit down. And, if there was many stairs or anything, I mean, I could do it, but I was very winded, and I could tell it was worse than I had imagined from, previous exertion. So I was kind of getting worried that I really had something wrong with me, but no, I didn't go to the doctor. I had no blood panels done or anything. But I want to tell you that since, and I've been, watching the videos and everything that you have, that about maybe 18 months ago, I was having an eye problem, still am. But what they said to me was, "Are you diabetic?" And then I thought, well, no, I'm not. I haven't been to the doctor. How do I know? But I have a very fast growing cataract in one of my eyes. And since I went, it's completely clouded. I'm blind in one eye, basically. And so I do need to, get that taken care of. But I'm hoping, and that will be one of my questions for you, if you think with some of the NAC drops and changing my diet, if it can ever be fully reversed. Mm-hmm. But sorry to get off on a tangent.
No, I think let's talk about that right now. Do you have any at all sensation, tingling, burning, numbness in your fingers or your toes?
No.
Okay, good. Cataracts usually are related to blood sugars, but it's also a very severe B1 deficiency. I have nutritional yeast tablets that are non-fortified. They have some B12, but that's probably a good source of B1. I would probably take 6 of those a day, and those drops, and then continue on the eating plan, because I think, and I'm not making any claims here, I think that can greatly improve your situation. I'm not saying 100%, but maybe, but I would go in that direction because, especially because think about it, what happens with the diabetic? The eyes are the first to go. And a lot of diabetics have cataracts, and the B vitamins get depleted with sugar.
Yes, and so I'm just I never knew all of this till I started watching your videos and then, reading more about what causes them, and that now I feel terrible that this could have been prevented. And the other thing that stuck in my mind was, so I went through the whole test to have the surgery the end of last year, but I didn't want to I hadn't met my deductible, and I didn't want to meet it that end of the year. So I thought, I'll wait till the beginning of the year. Then my new insurance didn't take that doctor, which is why I have not gotten it done yet. But I remember sitting in his office thinking, and I asked him that, like, well, what has caused this? He's not the one that said it. It was like an optometrist, so they sent me to the ophthalmologist. And I said, well, I grew up in Florida. I've been in the sun my whole life. And he said, this isn't from the sun. And I thought, oh. But, he didn't really go any farther than that. But he said, but if you have it in one, you will have it in the other. It's just a matter of time. And I just left the office being depressed, because having one vision in one eye, because now, I can see light, but no color. It's completely opaque. I guess that's the right word. And because of how your eyes work together, I'm feeling like I'm cross-eyed all the time. So that wasn't the main reason, because I didn't realize it at the time. But now I'm really thinking it was caused from my diet.
Yeah, I
guess I'll never know, but.
Well, I think it's the most obvious thing, and the challenge of the medical profession is they're stuck in this. Well, we don't know yet. We have to do research. It's a big lack of connection between what you put in your mouth, and then because they don't understand food therapy, it gets worse. So it's inevitable. There's nothing you can do. The point is that if you do some research, just type in cataracts and B1 deficiency, and you'll find all this interesting data. But if you've actually had years of becoming depleted, that lack of B1 affects the chemistry of all sorts of things in all the cells. So, sometimes it'll affect the feet, sometimes it affects the retina, sometimes it affects the lens of the eye. It just affects everyone differently. But I think you're on the right track. I would, you can see what it is right now. I would continue this and just see if it improves over the next few months with what you do. But the body can change I mean, you'd be surprised. I had one guy, he came to my office and he laid on the table and his arms and his legs completely went dead when he had laid down. He wasn't even concerned about that. I'm like, aren't you worried about that? He goes, no, it's fine. So, because when he stands up, he can just pound them and get him back to work. So I found out what he's eating. He's having pancakes, a big stack of pancakes, but that's not the problem. It's the 12-ounce cup of maple syrup, which is high fructose corn syrup, he pours on there. And that's what he consumes for his breakfast. I don't even want to talk about his lunch, his dinner. So I told him, I said, dude, that's going to kill you. That is going to kill you. But he just wasn't aware. He wasn't interested at that point. He's a typical guy. Like, you have to be nearly dead. Well, anyway, months later, he came to my office with glasses. I walked in the room and he had dark glasses on. And he had a cane. And his sister was with him. He was blind.
Oh,
So
no.
now he's living a life of darkness. I'm like, completely unavoidable. I mean, if you would have just done something, wake up. I mean, take care of your body. You got to live in your body. So then he came in, he wanted to do something about it. Can you help me? I'm like, no, it's too far gone. Where were you, months ago? That's not going to happen to you. But getting back to your weight, like you were 190. Like what are you now?
Right now I'm 154.
Wow,
So
that's incredible.
yeah.
Wow.
And so I have a little ways to go just for my personal preference. But I feel so much better in so many other ways, except for my eye. More stamina, just feel healthier in general. And, I just don't know why we are not told this. This is why it's hard for me to believe. But the interesting thing is that my mom was a diabetes education nurse before she retired. And did she ever tell me anything about sugar? No. Like when I would be dieting at different times, she would say, oh, well, complex carbohydrates, mix the peanut butter with the cracker. And I'm thinking, why the cracker? And so I never heard it from her. She taught people, not her fault, because I'm sure she was, had to go to her CEU classes by the sugar, that's funded by Big Sugar, I'm sure, of what she, the food pyramid and all that. And I'm, it's not her fault, but I'm just wondering, like, I had never heard that fat, some fats in moderation are okay. Here I'm cutting all the fat out and not worrying about the carbs, or the, sugar. So
it's amazing to me. Like there's even certain doctors that are saying the problem is the saturated fats. You have to get off the saturated fats. Sugars are okay. Yeah, so it's frustrating, but unfortunately, we're basically in this kind of a trap of getting the wrong information, and we keep getting worse. And you almost have to stumble on it, here and there. And because if you even search on how to get healthy, how to lose weight on the internet, the top page is WebMD. I mean, it just goes right to the list. It's hard to find the truth on health when you do searches on the internet. So,
right. Yeah. Well, now my mom has diabetes, so and it's very hard. Although we don't live in the same city, and I do talk to her every day, but it's hard for me because I'm not an expert to educate the educator, because I just think that that's just, she's kind of old school that way. And, when I'm hearing, about what they had for dinner or whatever, and my brother goes over there sometimes and there's lots of cookie wrappers, like, why are you even eating those? She shouldn't be. So anyway, I've got to figure out how to address that in a way that can, they don't have internet, or I'd be sending her to your channel. They're old school. They don't have a smartphone. So
it's like the more educated someone is, the harder it is to them to be willing to learn something. So
right.
You take these people that are like really so-called trained in the wrong information. They have such fixed ideas. It's like, It's tough. I mean, I run into them all the time. I know. I could only imagine,
Right.
especially if your mom taught it. Like it'd be like, well, wait a second. I taught this, so it's a
Yeah, so
situation.
I'm just trying to, maybe be an example. She hasn't seen me in a long time, so, but I mean, I've told her I've cut this out or cut that out, but I haven't even, I did at the beginning of the year get a membership to a gym with a friend of mine. But then I just, heard in one of your videos, don't work out too hard because of the cortisol. Just walk or, do some cardio, but don't do anything too strenuous because it's, maybe later on when you get where you want to be. So I haven't been there too often, but I have, do see this friend of mine that we joined together, and I have lost a lot of weight and she has lost probably not very much. But she hasn't really changed her diet. So, but she was very impressed. So I, sent her a few links to different videos to watch because I just think until people do it, you do not realize how it works. And I probably wouldn't have either. And I can follow directions and I can stick to things if I see results. I guess that was the thing that really helped me is because, it took several weeks, but, it was 2 pounds, 2 more pounds. It was enough. And it wasn't just the weight, it was the way my clothes were fitting, which was, I knew something was going on with that, but I was just feeling so much better. And most of the cravings have gone. Every now and then I think about a Publix cupcake and I wonder if they taste the same, but I just don't, it's not worth it to me. And I've had family members say, are you just never going to eat sugar again? And I'm like, maybe, probably because it's bad for you. But, I don't get on my bandstand, but they just said, well, I don't want to deprive myself. And I'm thinking of being healthy, but that's just where I am in my mind, and they're not there. So,
Hey, well, can I show you something?
yes.
That's one of the reasons why I personally I like ice cream. So I now have an ice cream that is low sugar, and we're working on trying to get it in the grocery stores, but it's going to take a long time. But the point is that the problem with sugar is it has 23 grams, 36 grams of sugar. That's even per serving. That's a half of a cup, So.
Wow.
So I have a zero sugar, and I just sent it to one of my diabetic patients who is recovering and doing great. So I had her test it. It barely increased her blood sugars. So
Wow.
I'm like, that's cool. So anyway, I'm like, well, now we have to put some chocolate in there. So I want to show you this right here. I don't know if you can see it. See this right here?
Oh, yes.
This here is, I found an artesian chocolate artist. Basically, he's an artist because he makes the best chocolate. And I wanted him to make it with monk fruit, which actually it's better than stevia because it has no aftertaste.
Okay, I've seen that at the store. The extract, or it's with the stevia, monk fruit, and I wondered.
It's a really good sugar, a bit pricey, but it's a really good sugar because it has no aftertaste. It's really sweet. So anyway, we've made the chocolate, 0 sugars. So I really like it. So when I'm done with this Skype, I'm going to go upstairs to my staff and I'm going to give them samples and see if they like it. But I'm trying to find, an alternative so a person wouldn't have to give up everything. They can actually have just alternative type things. I mean, like Halloween, for example. Did you have any trick-or-treaters?
No. Well, I live out on property, so
Okay.
I have a gate, so no.
So, I think the trick-or-treaters that came to our house last year, basically we're going to toilet paper my house because we gave these little toys and pens, and they're like, what is this? So it's really hard to have some alternative stuff. So, sooner or later, we start off eating sugar at such an early age, and we just keep feeding these kids, and I'm like the perfect example. And then we get older, and we're wondering like, why is our body just going downhill? So there has to be some substitute versus you can't ever eat sugar again. That's
Right.
kind of the point. But like, what other have you noticed that your cognitive function has improved at all?
Yes, I would say so. I think that, I mean, of course, if you're tired, you might not be as sharp, but definitely so. I just feel sharper in general. I think because I just feel, when I get up in the morning, I'm ready to go, and I do get tired, but I get up early, so by 10 o'clock I'm kind of shot. Yes, so that is definitely better.
And then what about when do you eat? What's your first meal of the day? What time?
Well, if I'm home, probably like around 11-ish. Like if I'm going to be home for the day. And that I did have a question for you about that because I always try to get in my kale shake. So I know a lot of people eat that with their breakfast. Sometimes I just have that for breakfast. I mean, that's enough.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to eat it if I'm, more if I'm not hungry. But well, it's not really a problem. But my question is, because I am trying to do the intermittent fasting, but like this morning, well, I was a little hungry and I wanted to get the kale shake in, and now I won't probably be home till 5 or 6. So I'm going to try not to eat anything, at all till I get home. But I didn't have anything else. I didn't have eggs, so I don't know if that's going to last me. But I just wondered, like, if you have that for a snack, I mean, I know you don't promote snacking, but if I was to have a snack, if I just couldn't make it, does that raise your blood sugar?
Not too much. Not too much. I mean, if you take it, like what I do in the morning, good amount of the time is I get up at like 5, but then about 8 o'clock, I'll take, I freeze my kale, it's all chopped. I put it in the blender. I actually fill the blender 1/3 filled. I have a pretty powerful blender. I'll put a cup of blueberries. I'll put 2 teaspoons of the lemon wheatgrass just because it'll give it a little bit of a sweet. Fill the whole thing with water, blend it up for 4 minutes, and then I don't fill the whole thing up with water, just like right above the 1/3, because it'll raise, the foam will come up. So I'll blend it for 4 minutes, and I'll actually I have the big mason jars, which is, it'll make 3.5 of those.
Wow.
So I'll drink 2 of them. I'll give 1 to my wife if she wants it. And that's my greens for the whole day. Like if I'll do that, which is a tremendous amount of greens. I might have a little salad later, but you can do it in the morning and then have your lunch and then your dinner. And it's really, like, I would say it's 2.5 meals because it's not going to spike insulin hardly at all. It's going to be minor.
Okay. That makes me feel better because I didn't want to cut that out, but sometimes I'm not home at lunch to have it then, but I need something in the morning, but I might not want that and eggs, or I don't have time to make it all. So
when I eat my eggs and bacon and cheese it's really my late morning, which is about 12, my breakfast. I can't eat a lot of salad or greens at that point. So I might have my greens either later in the afternoon or for dinner, or I'll have them early in the morning. So you do 2 meals a day.
Yes.
And give me an example of if you weren't going to do like kale, what would you eat for your lunch?
Sometimes a lot of times I'll have celery with peanut butter, a little peanut butter, or eggs. Trying to think. Salad. I try to mix it up a little bit. Sometimes I could eat the same thing, day after day. So, but usually, or I may just have a big, 2 or 3 eggs and a little bacon. Just kind of depends. But I do eat a lot of celery because I like it, and with a little peanut butter, it's a great meal. And people will probably say, well, that's not going to hold me, but I think after you've gotten used to eating less, because I'm really not that hungry. So that's what I like. So
what do you have for dinner?
Usually, some kind of lean meat, chicken, or maybe some kind of hamburger. Usually something on the grill, some kind of lean meat. Well, it's not always lean. Chicken or hamburger, meatloaf. I make meatloaf with pork rinds. That's a favorite. And vegetable or a salad or both. just have eliminated the starch. Where I used to always, when I planned my meal, think, oh no, what for a side, rice-a-roni? No. And my daughter sometimes, when she comes to visit, well, she's used to it now, but you just get used to eating that for so long, you think that's what you should eat. Anyway, I don't miss it. We do eat a lot of salads. I get the big box from like Walmart of the organic spring mix or something. So we do eat a lot of that, and I go through several bags of kale a week.
Awesome.
No sweets, no desserts. Although I do sometimes make a cheesecake, because you can have cream cheese with a little stevia and eggs, and that's pretty nice.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah.
I like to take grass-fed whipping cream, put a little stevia in there, and whip it up. It's like, I mean, that's a dessert right there.
Right.
It's really good.
Yes, it definitely makes me more, what's the word? Creative. Because, I do still like sweets, but I definitely don't crave them. And I don't really think I'll fall off that wagon anytime soon, just because it was just so bad for me. And I never realized how bad. It's like a conspiracy.
I know, and sometimes it takes a health problem to motivate people. I mean, honestly, I had to get to the point where my eyes were bloodshot and fatigued before I said, okay, maybe I should change. I mean, or else I probably would have kept going. But this is awesome, Shawn. I really appreciate just kind of sharing your story. I think it'll just help people to realize that they can do it. There's another way. And I would say one for one, every single person that I talk to, once they get to this state, they're not going back, because now they know the difference. And like, why would I go back to sugar?
Right. And I guess what I'm wondering, and I'm sure it's just like the pharmaceuticals, when there's so much money to be lost, why aren't we telling, kids young not to do this? Because I just never thought it was the only harm that would come to me would be a cavity, not diabetes or, a cataract or, the laundry list of other problems it's not just overeating. I mean, yes, I was overweight, but it was, like you said, at the cellular level, what was happening from the sugar. And, it feeds probably cancer. So anyway, I really wish I had heard sooner, but anybody that will listen, I'm not obnoxious, but I want them to know that there's it's easier. There's an easier way, but you do have to stick to it.
I think that brings up just a key point that I want to talk about just real briefly, is that my whole thing is I just like to help people that want help. So that's why I'm always telling people, spread the word, start telling your friends, and there's certain people that are ready and willing and interested. Other people are not. So that's totally fine. You could do what you want, but those people that are interested in being educated on a better way to do it, those are the people that I'm interested in working with. So definitely, we just have to spread the word, because there are people out there that are interested, willing, they want to get better, and they want to try a new thing. And they're sick of being tired and fat and inflamed,
Right. Yes, that's I would say that's probably what I was. I'm sure I had all kinds of inflammation, and every part of my body, and so it just sort of manifested itself with my eye problem. But I just know I was just so sluggish. Well, you saw my picture I sent in. I mean, not only did I lose weight, but I feel like I act younger, but I think I look younger, which I'm sure there's some connection there.
I think so. You get healthy on the inside, it shows up on the outside. So what we'll have to do is do another video in, let's say, 4 months.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about your eye. And
Okay.
we'll talk about your weight and just see how much, we'll just compare this video to the next one. So we'll do like a transition. I think that'd be a great video.
Yes, that'd be great. Can I ask you one question? I know in one of your, well, several of your videos, you talk about autoimmune because, how it manifests itself in different ways, but you have to get to the source of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my mom, who has diabetes, but she also has sarcoidosis, which is the autoimmune problem that affects her lung. It can affect your heart, but with her, it's a lot of scarring in the lung. So my question is, she has to take prednisone. She was diagnosed with this in 2000. So, and it's, she's really struggled with it. She's been in the hospital numerous times for pneumonia, which, you always have to, it doesn't cause pneumonia, but because your lungs are so compromised, she ends up sometimes in the ICU. But my question is, and I don't know, I haven't really asked her about this. I'm not sure if her diabetes was caused from long-term prednisone use. But if it is, can that, she can't stop taking prednisone because that's what controls the inflammation. But I guess my question is, could her diabetes be reversed if she eliminated the cookies, waffles, muffins, your whole list of sweets, breads, or no, because of the prednisone?
Well, do you know what prednisone is?
A hormone.
Do you know which one it is?
Cortisol?
Do you know what gland makes it?
The adrenals?
Mm-hmm. So here she is taking an adrenal hormone to help suppress her sarcoids or sarcoidosis, right?
Right.
Because it's an anti-inflammatory, and also it helps. It's given to almost every autoimmune case. So that's interesting. Like, you're taking something to support the adrenal to help your autoimmune, simply because the actual root cause is a weakened adrenal in the first place, because it's that hormone, naturally cortisol, is not working to regulate the immune system. So at some point, something shifted, probably related to stress or something, and then what happened is the immune system started doing a self-attack, and now she's stuck doing that. And yes, taking prednisone, one of the big side effects is it turns your muscles into sugar. It increases the sugar way, way up, and it burns out the cells of the pancreas, causing diabetes. It's right in Cibla, Encyclopedia for Endocrinology, on page 86. It talks right about the relationship between high levels of cortisone or prednisone and diabetes. So yeah, that's probably what caused it. Now, she would have to be really willing to, try different ways, support the adrenals with nutrition for a period of time, change the diet, get on intermittent fasting that will then stimulate autophagy and start cleaning up all the inflammation in old cells and start reversing this process. I think she could if she was willing to make changes. But yeah, it's, you can just see the domino effect from stress to drug to diabetes to, so you have to, it's not that complex when you understand some of these key points, but.
Right. Okay. Well, it's definitely worth looking into for her if I can get her mind to shift about it, because who wants to be sick? But I think she's about given up this will be her quality of life, which is really not too good.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Give it a shot. See if she's willing to look at it. I think that's the key is, will you please watch a video or something and see what she says?
Right. I'll let you know.
Okay, great.
Well, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. All your help and what you're doing for everyone. My friend's Wendy, by the way. Wendy Patton.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if you've interviewed her or not, but I know sometimes she's on your live, she asks questions on your live show, Wendy Patton. But anyway, she's the one that has been, spreading the word. So I have her to thank because, that's why I try to tell people, because, I don't know why it stuck in my mind about, that day with her, but it definitely is life-changing for me because I just can hardly believe it.
Wow.
But it works. So.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Wendy, for spreading the word, because look what happened. Look what you created right here. That's awesome. All right.
Well, thank you.
Have a great one.
I'll talk to you in a few months.
Okay, good. All
Okay.
right. See ya.
Thank you.
You're welcome.